Hey, it's Ika here. I'm just giving my opinion on the current standing of the non-restricted Pokemon in PSS Series 8, and I've just picked out some of the most used Pokemon at the top and mid levels, and just what I think about them and where I think they go. As I know, One Trick Pony was asking people's opinions, so I thought I might as well make a video about this since my channel hasn't really had anything for a while. They're in no particular order. Actually, looks like they're in Pokedex order, in fact, which is kind of amazing. So we can start off with where the categories I'm using, which are just the same categories that they're using in the BSS forums. I don't quite agree with them because I think it's hard to group things into just 4 tiers. I'd prefer 5 personally, but there we go. We're gonna have to work with what we're given, and we'll just start off with Chansey. I think Chansey falls somewhere between good and niche. I think it is good, actually. It's just good. Stall is just good. It does have a bit of counterplay, just in terms of that a lot of teams are very overly prepared for it, because if you lose a Stall in this metagame, it's just you never want to lose a Stall, because it's just you've lost, you put so much time into a game and then you lose it as well, which just it just sucks, really. Chansey does the same thing it does in every single meta. It checks special attackers, Yveltal. Not really, doesn't really check Calyrex Shadow that well, which is not good for a special war, because Sub Leechy can very much wind up Chansey. Yeah, but checks the general big threats. On the special side, Zapdos obviously completely walls Zapdos. Walls, yeah, any special attacker really. There are some with wall breaking potential, such as the Lapras, but for the most part, the vast majority of special attackers, Nihilego goes another one, just can't really get through Chansey. It just is what it is every single gen. What should be noted is that other than Eternatus, which I think Eternatus is actually one of the can also beat Chansey 1v1. Most of the top restricted Pokemon are physical attackers, aside from Kyogre and Eternatus. So yes, Chansey can check Kyogre quite well, actually. But Kyogre is generally paired with Ferrothorn, so Chansey, Ferrothorn gets to sit in on Chansey for free. So there is that for sure. I think overall, yeah, Chansey is just a good Pokemon. I think this is where Stall, full Stall, is at right now in terms of how good it is. Lapras, I think, is great. I know it's currently on top tier according to the guys at the Viability Council, but I think Lapras is not at the level of some of the Pokemon that I consider top tier right now. The reason for this is the problem with Lapras, in my opinion, is that it just it's good it's obviously great with Zacian, but I feel as its own Pokemon, it's inherently not that good. Actually, it's a Water Absorb Pokemon that loses to Kyogre, for example. Never a great thing. And the fact that you Dynamax it, even on Zacian teams, Dynamaxing Lapras is always a bit of a dodgy one, because with Zacian and Eternatus, you want to be Dynamaxing your Zapdos, you want to be Dynamaxing your Cinderace, or something that can put on a bit more offensive pressure than Lapras can. And Lapras without its G-Max Resonance is easily down here somewhere. yeah, I think it has its uses. It's good with, particularly with Zacian. But in terms of like its general appeal, like I would be like, if I'm not using it with Zacian, then I don't know what other I don't know what other restricted Pokemon I'd use it with, but only Zacian. But Zacian is the best as well, which I don't think it's top tier. It's because it just doesn't have that adaptability. Even Chansey can be seen with more restricted Pokemon than Lapras, in my opinion. So talk about Ditto. I think Ditto is the same thing. Is actually in great tier. The reason Ditto is not in top tier for me is because Ditto, a lot of teams are taking it quite heavily against Ditto. It also loses to certain Pokemon in the 1v1, so you can't use it reliably as I just, I let this max airstream and I just win the game by Dynamaxing my Ditto against a boosted target. For example, Zapdos will be Ditto in the 1v1, as can Pokemon like all the defensive Pokemon, of course, can beat Ditto in the 1v1 if it's Scarf. What's another one? The Crossman Dustmane is a big one that actually is. Ditto is not a reliable check 2. It's not even a reliable check 2 with the Morphizations. I think people have gotten a lot better with that. And the Spadeffa Turtis also can beat Ditto. Although Ditto is very good in those matchups, you do have to worry about it. And also Kyogre can beat Ditto in the 1v1. Obviously, it can be a very good sweeping threat, and it's pretty good with a Turtis because you can Dynamax their restricted and then have a Turtis as well. And it has some niche uses against Stall, but I think it's not quite at the level where you could bring it on every single team. And I think people have Ditto-proofed their teams a lot better than in earlier seasons. So all that stuff about people just getting swept by Ditto just doesn't happen as much anymore. Zapdos, nothing to be said. This Pokemon's the best Pokemon in the format. Yeah, it's not even close, really. If you want to make a team, Zapdos should be on nearly every team. The only teams that it shouldn't be on is, in my opinion, is Stall. That's it, really. Yeah, Stall. Anything else, then it's just amazing. It's just amazing. It's like having a restricted Pokemon on your team, except it's just a non-restricted Pokemon. Not much more to say. I'm going to try and order these in terms of how good they are. So I think Ditto is better than Lapras, for example. So I'll order it that way. I think Quag is here. I think Quag is actually better than Lapras. It's maybe not as good as Ditto overall. Obviously it has the defensive Zacian checks. I think the difference between Quag and Lapras is Quag can be fit on more teams. It is kind of like Ditto in a way that it's just a bit of a band-aid to this team can't deal with Zacian, which unfortunately most restricted Pokemon cannot deal with Zacian very well. Unless you're running like a Necrozma Dustmane team or a Coloric Shadow team or a Ho team, you're going to have trouble with Zacian, and even on those teams you would want something like a Quagsire or Ditto anyways. In some of those teams, so like in Ho teams, generally lend themselves towards Stolly builds. So you'll have quite that anyways. I think this can fit on a wider variety of teams than Lapras can. And then Chansey can. It can be on off. These can be on offense as a band-aid. This is just a purely hard stall one. Umbreon, I think this Pokemon's, I don't know, I feel like it's not very good at all. Anything that gets that brings in Zacian C for free loses to Zacian, loses to a Turtis. loses the Kyogre. It can kind of do okay versus Calyrex Shadow. To be fair, it has that going for it, but I'd much rather use something like Tyranitar, even Nihilego I'd rather use than Umbreon. I think Umbreon is a really awkward Pokemon in general. I mean, it does have a few things going for it. I think Porygon 2 is in a niche tier. I think it's just a worse Chansey. That's my impression that I get from playing against it. I mean, it can. I think a lot of the reason people use Porygon 2 is it's like trying to harken back to the old like P2 Toxapex Metagross builds, but like they just don't work. You might as well just use Chansey, in my opinion. Cheetah, I think, is top tier. It's just a great Pokemon, in my opinion. There's not much else to say. It's just the best Yveltal check in the game, best Calyrex Shadow check in the game. Just if you want a special war that resists Ghost type and resists Psychic, well, immune to Psychic, then yeah, this is it. Oh, and for me, best Zapdos. One of the best Zapdos checks in the game. Also, yeah, Great versus Zapdos is a key one. Yeah, just brings out utility, and I think its typing is better than Nihilgo's, and the fact that it's physical and can actually hit these Pokemon pretty hard is really good. So, and it doesn't let in that much for like completely for free. So like even like if you've got a Zacian C team, you have to respect the Earthquake from Tyranitar because this thing hits like a truck. I think Blaziken is here. It might be a controversial thing, but like I think speed boost strats they're alright. I think one of the things that I've seen more often is not even the Baton Pass set, but SD, EQ, just firefighting coverage. Firefighting EQ coverage is really good and can break through certain teams very well. Obviously, great versus Tar, Grass, just does like a number on the meta, and also can after a few speed boosts, you can outspeed Zacian and just wipe it out, for example. So yeah, this Pokemon does have to be respected, and it can do quite a number on stall as well. Swampert, I think I'm not sure where to put Swampert in here. I think it's worse than Chansey. I think it's like here. Maybe it's even worse than Blaziken. It's hard to say. I think Swampert could be put on a more variety of teams than Blaziken. But the thing with Swampert is that it doesn't have for me, it's a band-aid in similar way to Ditto and Quagga. It's like I need a Stealth Rocker, but I'm also weak to I'm weak to Hippo, I'm weak to Rhyperior, I'm weak to Landuti, which I feel like you can circumvent having to use Swampert if you have better team building, because there's a lot better. I'd rather be using Valdon or Landorus T nearly always, because they're just generally better than Swampert. In fact, I think Blaziken is better than Swampert. Swampert is like kind of over-represented for how good it actually is, whereas Blaziken can actually do things, I think, in the games. It's actually one thing that is underratedly really good against is the cross with Dustbane. It can really put off a hard hit against the cross with Dustbane and doesn't automatically lead pressure versus Zapdos beside me. Nah, let's put it here. Shedinja, I think is like very niche, very niche. This is like the bottom of niche. This Pokemon is, I mean, it's not that it's terrible, but it's just like you're just trying to cheese people with store. What do I think about Metagross? I think there was a time when Metagross was a lot better earlier on in the season. I think at the start there was like a lot of Yveltal plus Metagross teams. That was the main thing. I think Metagross is kind of like lived and died by the fact that Yveltal is not very good. So like almost like a Metagross Hydreigon core, which is kind of like a bastardization of AG Hydreigon. They just like complement each other well. Unfortunately, Metagross's role I think has diminished somewhat. In that it used to check Nihilego for what's it called, for Yveltal, but Nihilego is not a problem for Yveltal because that usage just dropped down the toilet. Yeah, so Metagross is just nowhere near as good. I'd put it here. I think it's there behind Blaziken. Gastro, I think Gastro is like the top of niche. I think this is just, this Pokemon has the cheese, you know. Has a Water Absorbmon that can actually beat Ogre somewhat. But yeah, at the end of the day, it is very passive. So you have that going for it. Going against it, I should say. Not much more to say about that. I wonder what I think about Chomper. I don't have Arcanine on here. I actually should have Arcanine on here somewhere. Chomper. It's okay. It's like SD scale shot shit. Yeah. I don't think it does anything special or interesting in this particular meta. So there's that going against it. Rhyperior I think is great. This Pokemon is actually really good. It's the best Zapdos check in the game. It has, I think Costat Berry is really good on it. In fact, I tend to say Rhyperior is better than Lapras. That's a controversial take there. Overall, in terms of the utility that this Pokemon brings to a team, I think is better. Like, yeah, there's not much to see. Like, it just had the bulk just about enough to survive Zacian C Behemoth Blade. If it didn't have that bulk, I think it'd be a lot worse than it is. Obviously with Solid Rock. But yeah, completely walls Zapdos. Also beats Tyranitar in the 1v1. I mean, you always have the Jorkos type shenanigans. But that Rhyperior's, I think, like that sort of tech has kind of started to pop up. AV is also really good, I think. Also, this Mon checks Excadrill pretty hard as well, and just beats nearly every steel type. Does surprisingly well against most of the restricted Pokemon. Does okay against Zacian Z. Obviously, I'm trying to think. You can, if you're AV, you can trade with Calyrex, with Max Quake. Does well. Can Quake Eternatus for tons. Actually beats Necrozma Dustmane. If you're AV, again, you beat Veltor. So there's a lot of things this Pokemon can do. I mean, when you go beyond that, like it actually shits on like Ho, for example, and all these like dragons, like I think Zekrom and Dialga, both lose to. I think both lose to Dynamax Rhyperior. Rotom Heat, I think, is in the niche tier. I think it's actually like down here. Yes, unfortunately, the typing is not that useful, despite the fact it does wall Zapdos. I think there's better ways to wall Zapdos than Rotom Heat. Rotom Wash is a bit better than Rotom Heat. I think just the water typing is just better offensively if you look at these Pokemon. You know, being able to actually hit Tyranitar hard, hit Rhyperior, like a water type that can beat Lapras potentially. Pump is enough to annoy Quagsire, and obviously you got like the stall breaking component of it, and it doesn't like absolutely get shat on by like say Urshifu Rapid Strike. So yeah, there's that going for it. So Heatran, controversial take. I think Heatran is really fucking good. This one is really fucking good. I think it's in here. It's, in my opinion, the best Eternatus check in the game, which alone counts for something. It has a lot of utility. The Magma Storm taunt set on its own just beats Store. You can even beat it on the 1v1 with the balloon if you have it. And yeah, it does decently against Zapdos. Zacian can't really switch into it. You can Dynamax. To live a close combat and the Oko with Max Flare. You know, beats Rillaboom for the most part. I mean, if you're not clicking Grassy Glide on Rillaboom, then you're being annoyed. And obviously, Ashley shits on Fairthorn and Celesteela, which are big threats. So I think Heatran is one of the things that I think is really underrated. And people should be looking for going through. I think Excadrill. Yeah, I think Excadrill is really good as well. The thing is good as Rhyperior or Lapras, no. The thing is good as Heatran, no. But I think it's right there. It's something that can train with everything. That's the good thing about Excadrill. With Sandrush, it can be Oko, Zacian C, always good. From the top, AV is also very good. Can break through Stall in a similar way as Lapras can, but without being as weak as shit. Beats Eternatus, beats Tyranitar. In my opinion, you know, Sandrush can also beat Cinderace, beats Mimikyu, it beats Xerneas is a big one. And yeah, annoys Grimmsnarl and stuff like that. So it has a lot going for it. I think it's definitely in this tier. Let's talk a bit about Seismitoad. Seismitoad, in my opinion, is decent. I think it's underrated, honestly. If I was to put it somewhere, actually, let's put Porygon 2 at the top of niche. I think that's where it should go. But Seismitoad, I think, is here. Actually, I think with Seismitoad, it's like more rewarding the better you get it at setting it up. It's really quite dangerous. Pokemon offensively with Swift Swim, you can run it with Big Ogre. But it's not generally it can be run with Zacian as well, as almost like an ogre check, where the range from ogre that kind of screws itself over. So you can run it as like an offensive pressure at the same time as checking ogre. So you don't see as much like water absorb, but Swiftstone is really dangerous. Generally, the thing with it as well is you can run special or physical. Generally, I think I've mostly seen physical. Physical does really well. I mean, you've got Power Whip for Lapras for Quagsire. Then, water plus grounds is gonna like, you know, the only thing that's taking these things well is Zapdos, and Zapdos isn't taking a boosted water move very well. Earthquake obviously destroying everything here except Quag, which is destroyed by Power Whip. It also could also see Brick Break, I think, is used for opposing Lapras. You can get max Knuckle, which is pretty good. I think it's overall pretty good Pokemon. Let's talk about Whimsicott. I think Whimsicott is like, my opinion is like a cheese Pokemon. I think is it like here maybe? I mean, what you're generally running on is like Tailwind or either that or like some Leech Seed. Just Moonblast and a load of support moves. You don't even have to run Moonblast. You can run like Calm Guard, Seed. I mean, it's gonna be annoying, but does it do that much is the question. I feel like if you play around it well, it doesn't matter. I think Darm Galar is actually good. This Pokemon's actually good. Hella threatening, fast. It beats most of the leads in the meta game, and it actually hits very hard. I don't know, like, what in terms of like how much it is used, but like whenever I see it, I'm like shit myself. Just because this Pokemon is like low-key really threatening. I don't know if there's much more to say than that. Like, I think it's just clearly very good. Well, not very good, but it obviously has its drawbacks, like Dynamaxing opposing Dynamax could be really annoying for it just because it doesn't manage the Oko shit that it probably should have done. But actually, why is it even good? Like, I think it's in the top of good. But yeah, I think this thing like absolutely wrecks. Like Scarf, Flablets, I'm pretty sure Oko's Zacian C, or it's very close on if it's bulky. Can U-turn out of pretty much every bad matchup. T-Tar doesn't want to stay in on it. Zapdos hates Icicle Crash. So yeah, it's always had that niche. Maybe it's even here. I don't know. Maybe it's even here. I think it can work on a wide variety of teams as well as just a standalone threat. And yeah, it's one of those things that I think is picked up at top high level. Further on, I think it's top tier. It's just a great defensive backbone one. I think it thrives in an environment where Kyogre is everywhere. It's a Kyogre check, unlike our friend Chansey, that does like a switching that doesn't just like automatically sap momentum, because you could Leech Seed. Gyro actually does quite a lot. It can actually Dynamax unlike Chansey. So yeah, it has a lot of things going for it. Also, obviously, beats Rhyperior. um, Ruins, Quag, Ruins, Lapras. Um, and it has stuff like knockoff even that can kind of like annoy teams. It actually does decently versus like say Necros, but does mean. Um, yeah, it has a lot of things going for it. I think it's just like a solid backbone piece on your team. Um, yeah, maybe just an excellent Kyogre check for one. Great Mimikyu check, great Lapras check. Yeah, you gotta respect this man for sure. Decent Feeny check. Lando, I think is. I'm not sure if it's second or third best. It's either that or Cinderace or a Shifu. Those are like the best. The other ones contested for second place. It's like I'd say after. I'd say it's the third best offensive Dynamaxer. That's not obviously not like a restricted Pokemon. It does a lot of things, which I think is why it's probably seen more than Cinderace or Urshifu. But yeah, I think like just SD Fly is really good. It can Stealth Rock as well. I do like Lumberry plus Jolly Lumberry SD 3 attacks. I think is really strong and real pain for Pokemon to deal with, and it's also a good Hippo check. Where the fuck is Hippo, man? Where's Hippo? Hippo is in top tier as well. Wait a second, I might have to redo this with my boy Hippo. I feel like where's Cerebi? Hippowdon. Okay, let's go back. Obviously, like. Okay, I'm gonna put Hippowdon in right now, and I will go back and I will choose files and add Hippo. That is how obsessed I am with Hippo being in this thing. Okay. Oh, let's do this. Okay, and I'm gonna redo the list quickly. Chansey's in good, Lapras in green. Ditto is better than Lapras. Zapdos obviously the gold. Quag is there. Umbreons is here. This here. Tita is here. Blaziken I think is for sure putting good. I put it here. Yeah, in good. Like this. Shed is bottom of niche. I think Grass is like behind these. Gastro here, Chomper here, and now we can rank Hippo. I'll wait to rank Hippo. Rhyperior is here. Rotom Heat in niche. I think Wash is in niche as well. Heatran here, Drill here, Siphon top good. Whimsicott I think is in niche somewhere. I haven't put a precise thing. I think it's behind here. Down Galar I think is here. Fairphone I think is here. Lando T is here, and we are back to Hippo. Hippo is here. It's not as good as Fairphone, but it is definitely got some things going for it. I'm just gonna check that looks good. Yeah. So yeah, Hippo is. I just think is a strong overall lead. I mean, it does what it does every single generation is very fat, sits in, gets up Stealth Rock, phases around your team a bit, is annoying, decent defensive sponge. yeah, definitely can sponge. No, I'm not putting Arcanine in, by the way. I don't care. Arcanine's in good. Actually, Arcanine is around here. I will talk about stuff, but yeah, not much more to say about Hippo. It's just decent overall. I think it's top tier. This Prim, I think, is, what's it got going for you? I mean, it's got, I think, like, honestly, I feel like with Primarina, I think the Perish Trap stuff is done better by Tapu Fini. Maybe it's better with, like, I don't know, maybe it's like AV size. I don't even know. It hits harder than Fiend. Maybe that's the only reason I'll put it there. Hex is good. Hex is proper good. This Pokemon is definitely great. I'm not sure where to put it in great. I don't know. Is it great? Maybe it's not great. Maybe it's just good. It's hard to say. I think maybe Toxapex is top of good. It does not sponge hits as well as it does in non-restricted methods. Like, you know, SDZ C is still gonna mess this thing up just because it's just so powerful. So I don't think it has quite like the defensive utility Quagsire does. In fact, it loses to Zapdos and Landorus. T Dynamax is kind of troubling as well. Can Sponge kind of get hits, but like, you know, you're running up shit for Ogre. Ogre has Thunder as well, which are tons. Mimikyu. Honestly, it's here. It's here. I mean, you know, it's okay. I think Mimikyu can do a lot of things as well. It's just a general good Pokemon, but I don't think it's anything special in this particular format. Losing to Zacian Z is like a big one, but like in terms of like what it does otherwise, it's like pretty good. I think it does suffer a bit from the metagame. You don't see a lot of Mimikyu on top teams, is what I've realised. I feel like you see more Ferrothorn. Maybe that's just my opinion. Even though, yeah, I feel like you see more Ferrothorn. So like, that is where I'd put it. Because I feel like Mimikyu it's not powerful enough. It's like and plus it wants Life Orb, but I want Life Orb on my Zapdos. I want Life Orb on my Cinderace. Or I want Life Orb on, like, I don't know, like, if I'm running one of those Dragon Legendaries, I want Life Orb on them. Or even on Seismitoad, rather than having it on Mimikyu. I feel like. So there is that going on it. But yeah, mainly having it on Zapdos and Cinderace is just so much better than having it on Mimikyu. Without that, Mimikyu hits a bit like a White Paper Towel. Tapu Koko, I think. This Pokemon's not good. I have to say it, it's not good. I don't know where I'm gonna put it in terms of is it niche, I mean, what can it do? I'd rather have Zapdos in nearly every circumstance. I don't think it's better than P2. I think it's better than more legit than Whimsicott. Tapu Fini, I think this Pokemon is great. In fact, I think it's better than Quag. Pokemon can do so many things. It's bulky. It can beat Stole, beats Lando, beats Titar, beats Hippo. It can trade with Zacian. Actually, one of the few that can trade with Zacian is C. Can trade with Big Olga. Carmine's really annoying. Like, beats Rhyperior, beats Excadrill, beats Heatran. Yeah, it's probably one of the most annoying store breakers in the tier. Obviously, losing to losing to Zapdos really bad, but like stuff like being able to Nature's Madness half health of a Necrozma DOS main whilst it's trying to set up. It's just like shit like that it can do is very underrated, because like most like passive Pokemon or like defensive walls can't just like half health a like something like a behemoth from full. And Tafini definitely has that in spades. Let's talk about Nihilego. I think it's honestly better than Quag. Would I put it in top tier? Nah, I think it's the very middle. I don't know. Is it top tier? No, I don't think so. I think it's the very top of great. So yeah, we're talking about Nihilego. I think this one's washed. Like, people realize that T-Tar just does what Nihilego does better. I mean, yeah. This Pokemon's honestly just good. And I think it's... Yeah, is it better than Seismitoad? Yeah, I think it's better than Seismitoad. It's better than Chansey. So, like, it's here, maybe. Maybe actually, no. Maybe it's something like this. There we go. We'll put the store boys together. Yeah, this Pokemon just... I mean, it does one thing, which is check Zapdos pretty well. But other than that, it doesn't have much to offer. And if you want to check Zapdos, there's the Rhyperior right here, and the Tyranitar right there. Pheromosa. I think this one's just very niche, all things considered. I mean, it does have some things going for it. In terms of, like, it does hit very hard, and it's very fast. I think Pheromosa being 1 point faster than Calyrex Shadow is kind of underrated. And it can go for Throat Chop against Calyrex Shadow, which I think in its own way makes it good. I don't think it's in great tier, but I think it's good. I think it's actually better than Toxapex. It does have an X factor to it. It has a decent like theoretical matchup. It is a bit frail though, so you kind of have to use it. You kind of just have to use it, lead it, and then just let it do its thing. Steeler, I think, is in here. Is a great Pokemon. I think Steeler plus a Turtus is very annoying to deal with. I think it's like a pretty good defensive check to a lot of these Pokemon here in top tier. It just happens that it's just been Celesteela's problem forever. It's just it suffers versus Zapdos. That's it. That's the only issue it has that prevents it from being fair on this list. Everything else I can kind of deal with. Big Rillaboom. Is it in top tier? No, I don't think it is. I think it's here, the top of great. I think it's actually better than Feeny. Yeah, again, Zapdos is its worst nightmare, but it does like put a lot of pressure on teams otherwise. I think Bandit really good. SD Life Orb is actually pretty good. AV's alright. Just being able to Grassy Glide shit mostly is what it does. Grassy Gliding Kyogre is really nice. Even Grassy Gliding Calyrex Shadow can be pretty good, or like knocking off certain items off Storm matchups. It's a very good Stormbreaker, so it has that going for it. I think Cinderace is here. I wasn't sure whether to put it in front or behind Landorus, but I think I'm gonna put it in front. I think it's better Dynamax there than Landorus, honestly. It's more dangerous. I think Landorus may be more adaptable, so I'll just put it here. But yeah, just amazing Pokemon. This Pokemon, Life Orb, it has every single move that you'd ever want. I think Giga Impact is super good on it, though it's underused. Just actually just messes up anything on lead. Except ZCC has to respect Sash as well. Cinderace, Powerball, Oku, Station. So it's always getting respect on Team Preview, no matter what. There's no good wall to it in my opinion. Like even Eternatus is not, it's like a decent Cinderace wall, but like if you're switching into Max Strike from Cinderace or Max Mindstorm, you better have a game plan, boy, or you're gonna be in trouble. Grimmsnarl, what do I think it's at? I'm looking at this list and I'm thinking that's not very good. Like, it's okay, don't get me wrong. Grimmsnarl does its one thing. It's somewhere in here. It's like, it does its one thing, that's it. You know what you're getting with Grimmsnarl. It's like dual screens. Yeah, let's add a Necrozma Dustmane. Let's add or either that I was tricking a Langtail, but yeah. Add a Zacian, add a Necrozma Dustmane, add a, I don't know, Zekrom. Using Coco with Zekrom is better, I feel. That's the niche Coco has. He powers up like Pure Black and Zekrom and shit like that. Yeah. Talk about Big Fish. I think Big Fish is alright. It's a one trick Andy, but like, what do you expect from your boy Vish? He only uses one thing. It's been always good at this thing. I think it's down here. Actually, it's better than Chomp and Grass. Yeah, you just clicking Fish's Rend. Let's be real. Dragapult, what do I think it is? In terms of its potential, I'd say Dragapult is one of the more underexplored ones. But in reality, it's good. It's just like Zacian C is like a big block to it, and the fact that Zapdos I think just trades well into it. I think Cinderace trades well into it. Urshifu destroys it. Landorus T with Lomberry destroys it with Max Extreme. Yeah, Tapu Fini destroys it. Like a T-Tar obviously destroys it. So it has like quite unfavorable matchups. But it can do a lot of things if you know what you're doing with Dragon Ball. I think there's that, and it obviously has, you know, Wisp, Phantom Force. It can do anything. I think physical is better than special. I don't think screens is any good. Let's talk about Urshifu. Urshifu is here. Is that? I'm trying to think which one is Rapid Strike and which one is. I think this. Oh yeah, I can see clearly now. This one is RS. Oh no, Single Strike. This one's Single Strike. The Dark Urshifu. Dark Urshifu is. I mean, it's just wicked blow, man. Wicked blow, close combat, suck punch, and then like one more move like counter, taunt, whatever. Bandit or Focus Ash. Good lead. Can break through stall. Nothing like the switch into a Wicked Blow, even if it resists. Actually, the only thing that switched into really well is Feeny. Yeah, can crit through screens versus the cross with Dustmane. Really annoying. Though Dustmane can actually power through Urshifu if you get the right setup. Like, you need to break Sash though for that to happen. But yeah, good Pokemon that can patch up weaknesses to certain Pokemon like Calyrex, and that goes with this name. The water one, I think this is, yeah, this is Rapid Strike, not Single Strike. I always get them mixed up. I think it's pretty good. I might be tempted to, nah, it's not here. I think it's here. I think it's, maybe it's worse than Quack and better than Ditto. I think it's just like generally pretty good. Like the water type moves against Lando, against Cinderace is pretty good. Against Hippo is good. I think Taunt is hella underrated on this Pokemon. And yeah, it can beat it can beat a lot of these Pokemon. Rhyperior is another one that it can messes up Excadrill. Also pretty good against opposing Kyogre teams. When you like trade your a Pokemon with Kyogre, and then have rain boosted attacks from the Urshifu, Rapid Strike is really annoying to deal with for your opponent. So yeah, there's that. I think it's also good with Kyogre, obviously. And yeah, it beats Rapid Strike, which is also good for just Urshifu. Well, no, for Calyrex teams. So lastly, Regieleki. I think it's great. It's good. It's like the best screener. I don't think it's like better than these Pokemon, but like, you know, it has its niche. It's fast. It can actually hit pretty hard. Yeah, just the best screener, in my opinion. So like, if you're running dual screens, I'd rather run this than like Grimmstar, say. Grimmstar I think is a bit meh. Whereas this can, I don't know, I feel like you're always getting something out of it. It's like you can like get momentum easily as well. So yeah, not much more to say. I think this is my list, and there we go, we'll leave it at that. Arcanine is the only thing I'd say is good, and then I can look at these and give my opinion quickly. Anything here that I didn't put, I think Dragonite is crap. I don't think it's good. Like, I thought I've ranked all of these. So I don't think Dragonite is good. I think Arcanine is good. I think Dragonite is very niche. Kartana I think is pretty niche. If I was to put it in rankings, these Pokemon, AG, Avalugg, Azu, Blissey, Charizard, I think these Pokemon are all beyond niche. The only one that I'd say is like any good, Crest maybe. Yeah, Crest. That's the only Pokemon I'm really looking at here that I haven't ranked. That I go, yeah, that Pokemon actually has some big niches. These like are like tiny niches. So yeah, that's my list. Save. Okay, tier list. There we go. Download image, and we'll just end it there.